What is a symphony? The technical definition is an elaborate musical composition for a full orchestra, typically in four movements, at least one of which is in sonata form. However, of the many blessings I count, being musically gifted is not one of them. So the better question to ask is, what is my symphony? A story. It's a story about this kid who I've known for a while. He's not particularly special, at least he doesn't think he is. He was born on the autism spectrum and was for a long time thought to be mute. So he was quite the case from the start. Funny enough, when he was born, he didn't cry. He just stared, taking in the world. Which I believe is one of the coolest entrances a person could have. Nonetheless, the kid grew, eventually stumbling across a Superman book. Perhaps this is where the idea came from. The idea to be a superhero. An idea that would drastically change the trajectory of his life. Years later, after coming to love his life and all it had, from McDonald's to Toys R Us, to family and friends as well, he went on a trip to Nigeria with his family. I say trip in quotations because it was secretly a move he did not know about. When the boy found out, he was pissed. He threw a tantrum for hours. However, as tantrums often do, it ended and he had to move on to the next day. And the day after that, each day complaining about how he wanted to go back home. Eventually, he had to go to school and actually be a useful member of society. And something weird happened. He made friends, like good friends. Types of friends whose moms made you amazing sandwiches. The types of friends who bought you plantain chips for no other reason than you mentioned you like plantain chips that one time. The types of friends who you reminisce about laughing with to this day. The boy had forged amazing memories with these people. Every once in a while, he would go to the concession stand they had and get a nice crepe and Lucozade. Lucozade being one of his favorite drinks just because the drink tasted like the bottle design. It is an experience the boy believes that can only be gained by drinking it yourself. One time he entered the class and saw it divided between the girls and the boys, because apparently girls had this infectious disease known as cooties. He didn't participate, however, because he thought the logistics of the disease were dumb. He also didn't like changing seats. One could say he's been a cultured individual since day one. One could say. Another time the class had to do group projects, reenacting natural disasters. And he went off by himself to try and make an earthquake because he couldn't figure out how to make one in his head, so he was intrigued with the idea of figuring out how to do it. However, since there was not enough interest in said earthquake, the teachers and him compromised and put him in the tornado group, which ultimately ended up being really fun. Initially he thought it was boring. However, whenever the group had to show off their presentation, he would get so excited to show off his spinning skills that he would get the eye level of the tornado just to watch it spin. Wouldn't blink until the water had finished its twirl. Maybe it's just the primal instinct of man to like spinning things. Who knows? Another time, the boy had seen his older brother being insulted by this older girl, so he stepped in and called the girl mean and whatnot. But then she started insulting the both of them, and the boy was confused, flabbergasted even, one might even say bamboozled to the hoozled. As if the concept of her thinking less of him should have been impossible. She must have been talking to someone else who was not a solid 5 foot and 4 inches of awesomeness, the boy thought. The boy also eventually got a crush on the girl who had bought him the plantain chips, but he was scared because his brother liked her older sister. So there were days where he would just ponder on how he would marry his crush before his brother could date the crush's older sister. Because in his head, marriage was the only way to prevent such a tragedy. An interesting idea indeed. Among these memories, he had forged many more. Some just eating sandwiches with his best friends, or playing tag with him obviously being the fastest, or when the class got to show off all their cool stuff at show and tell. Before he knew it, the quite not so intelligent young boy had made a home at the school. Then something happened.